Hello, Soul Family. I am Shannon Pardini, and I am here today with Dafna Ohana, who is with Healing Root Hypnotherapy, and I am Quantum Heart Conversations. And we're super excited to share with you the cosmic energies that are happening right now. They are strong and loud and purging out lots of energies in us all. And our topic is going to be, with that said, bridging into the initiation of our future visions. And again, Dafna is just genius here. She brings astrology into our field in a very intuitive, whole new way than what's being shared out there. So Dafna, with that said, I'm just going to let you dive into the conversation, and I'm going to pick up where it's needed. So
Thank you. It's good to be here. Thank you, Shannon. I love our meetups, and it's interesting to me always the dates that are chosen. I wouldn't say we choose them, the date that are chosen. Tomorrow is the full moon in Leo, and I want to say that the bridging point for us has been largely January. I know linearly speaking, we start the year in January, but it really feels like the energetics of December were really combined with the energetics of January, where both Venus and Mercury still were in the inward, downwards journey and having a conversation and really getting clear on our values, getting clear on the structure. And Venus was in Capricorn, which is not a fuzzy, warm, lovey-dovey kind of Venus. It's more of a serious Venus. So Venus really wanted us to know, are we experiencing our needs? Are we showing up in relationships the way we are in truth? Is there something or somewhere where we utilize our life force that no longer is in resonance with us? Where do we spend our time? Where do we spend our money? Where do we spend our energy? All these things and structures have been sort of like having this conversation. And I find that it's interesting that Mercury traveled both with Venus, because that's the inward, deep conversation that they had together. And so that ended at the end of January. And with that energy, we were birthed, or we were risen into February. And I know that a lot of us maybe feel that there is a momentum in February. There is really a lot of creative energy that has been stirred, and all the planets are in a direct motion from the middle of it, but it's as though as the motion is start and stop. There is a buildup of momentum, but there is quite a bit of purging still going on, as we spoke about before we pressed the recording here. A lot of releasing still. Chiron is meeting up in the sky, which is the wounded healer, is meeting up in the sky in various times and help us shed more layers. And there is a huge karmic cycle that is ending. And, nothing happens in a vacuum. A lot of the times we have dates and we talk about certain aspects, but there is a lot of interblending. There is this dance in the sky and dance in life that we are having and engage with, that is never one straight fine line. It's always in the spiral, as we all know. I mean, and it's interesting. One of the images that came up to me when I was thinking about eclipses and full moon and the void of the moon is that even us very deep in the spiritual journey, the essence of life oftentimes get eclipsed, from us. There are always layers and veils that we tune into and we pierce through in various times. But it takes us a process to fully embody and assimilate the wisdom that we glimpse, you know, in those moments. And so what happens with the sky, and I will soon pass it to you to see what comes up for you, is that this week, amazingly enough, is one of the most profound week of the year. That's why I laugh when the time is chosen for these meetings. We have a full moon in Leo tomorrow, but we also have a build-up to a Mars-Venus conjunction. So both the masculine and the feminine essences are going to join together. That's why there is a lot of intensity in relationship. I will speak to that later. And then there is also a buildup towards the Pluto US return, which is on the 20th. And that's a huge aspect and element within the evolution cycle that we're participating in, that not every lifetime we experience, and not and it's once in a lifetime, and oftentimes we don't experience it because it's something like 258 years. So it's a huge formation that is bringing another thread of the Capricorn area, and it connects with the fated nodes. So there is a lot of emphasis on a huge karmic culmination and a change that there is no question whether the change is coming or not. It's coming, and it's in a certain area sometimes in our life, obviously, but collectively the change is magnifying. It's building up, and we are in it.
I don't think we could be more or closer into the belly, you know, right in the nucleus. You know, to me, the energies feel like a cosmic steamroller. It is, you just feel it's coming closer and closer, and it hasn't just hit yet, but it's just, I feel the suction of it. And what's been interesting in my world is, you know, for me, I'm seeing a lot of foundation, not only in myself, but in others, recreating the foundation from scratch, whether it's your personal life, your creative work, or, you know, whatever your, you know, passions are at this point. But passions are high, you know, it's, people are getting super focused on, you know, who they are, how they want to show up in this world. But with that said, and these energies that are so present, it's ripping layers off of us, you know, from the past. And it's beautiful, divine design that we're seeing. And I know that a lot of us are getting our hearts broken and crushed, thinking that the things that we wanted and that we spent so many years, or no matter what time frame we put into it, they're just, we're in this cosmic energy that's going to just pull it right from under you. And we have to be prepared for that, because again, it's these beautiful energies, as intense as they are cosmically direct, and they are perfectly situated in each of our divine design to show up as you truly want to be. So as much as we may not feel fully in control, you are fully in control. And the things that are, you know, getting poked and prodded and pulled are exactly what you're wanting. And that's why this cosmic steamroller is so important, because without it, you know, we wouldn't understand what these subconscious tendencies are that are keeping us so tethered to the things that we don't really want. And again, we're supported here, and we all understand it. We get fixated as humans on many things, and the things that we're fixated on, yes, they're love, and you know, they teach us lessons and so forth. But to understand this time and to understand yourself, it's really about stabilizing your foundation and taking a step back and letting these energies are going to do what they want to do. And it still is the design within all of us. But take a step back, take the pressure, take a breath, you know, hone, you know, how you truly do want to feel. And again, Dafna, I just love how you can so coherently describe what's going on cosmically and within the skies and touch like the whole fabric of my reality. It's like, yes, you know. So with that said, you know, I guess even in my personal life in the last 2 months, there's just been so much that's been unexpected that's happened in the physical, but deep down, I knew those things were going to play out. And it's funny too, as things get sorted in my life and taken away or new things come in, my physical body goes through purging. And so, you know, within the last 2 weeks, just little things have come up with myself, and you know, even pulling a muscle in my back. Like you can see the little synchronicities and how they lead up, and how your physical body is just saying, hey, slow down, chill out, take a look at this, you know, deal from the inside out. And you know, I guess the best I can say for all of us is it's time to really just get inward, you know, especially during these months and this new cosmic new year. It's asking us to truly, truly, you know, go inward and define everything. Like, how do you want things to make you feel? Because that's what's going to illuminate how you create them. So I'll pass it to you.
Beautiful. So much is coming up, you know, talking about the body. You know, we are in a Uranus has been traveling through Taurus, and Taurus is all about, you know, the body and embodiment. And the point that is fascinating to me is, you know, we don't talk a lot about it, but some of the audience may have heard about the axis change of the world. And I want to bring this up because you spoke about the body and how the physical and how the interior and the restructuring and the foundation. And I don't know how many of you know that, but you know, the physical axis of the world and the magnetic axis of the world are not always in the same position, and they actually are coming into alignment. And I find it so fascinating because even within this thread of what's going on within our Earth herself is what's happening in our own axis. And know, you know, our own axis of life and our own axis of self and being and the divinity and the temple we are is being always tuned and aligned within the axis of the true heart of the earth. You know, we are always coming into this divine symmetry with the way that creation and our visions are calling for us. And this is exactly what's happening. And I love how I'm so energized by how the sky is giving us a map, a language to look at and see what's going on in here. And I find that it gives another thread of the context of what we know we are going through. And so part of what we are going through with the, I want to speak first of all to the tomorrow's full moon in Leo is connected to the end of 2020, but also it's connected to our own light. Leo is the sun. Leo is our uniqueness. And the reason we are going through these excavations and purging and realignment is because our soul knows what we came here to do. And it keeps calling us, beckoning us forward to the vision that we have within our dreams life, you know. And it's calling us, and the Uranian energy that we have in the sky, Uranus is all about revolution. Uranus is all about the higher self. It's the eternal sky. Uranus is ruled by the eternal sky. I like looking at the rulership and what this signifies, because it really gives me the magnitude of what we're talking about. And we also have Jupiter in Pisces, which is ruling the sky. So you have this, the sky itself meeting eternity, and we are in this, swimming in this kind of waters. And so we are called to shine into the full spectrum of who we are, which we know that. But I find that these energies help us owning and honoring and embodying greater elements and getting traction in really moving more into that higher self, soul container, and being in the flow of the creation that wants to express through us. Now, another aspect that is beautiful, the Mars and Venus conjunction, it's talking about the divine union and the union within our own self, and the magnetic and the electric. And they are going to meet in the sky, and they're not having the easiest conversation to begin with. Let's put it that way. They are meeting in the sky, and they are reminding us of the new paradigm of partnership. That partnerships, whether it's in love partnership or in business, whatever partnerships are, there is a container that is created through the masculine and the feminine, the Trinity. And, you know, we are in the year 2022, which is the Trinity of two. And so the container that is built, you know, the pyramid, if we take the masculine and the feminine, the container that is presented is to serve the greater good. It's to serve the divine in each one of you. It's to bridge and to bring the nectar and to reach the juiciness in each one, and to help one another embody it, and to be the sacred mirrors that sometimes are complicated and challenging to each other, in order to keep each other honest and reassess and come into this resilient true self that we are, the sovereign being that we are, and to support each other as we elevate into that place within ourselves, and create a container by that help us do that help us go through the purification and the fire, in order to serve each other's elevation and the unified field. And so Mars and Venus are going to connect in a tricky manner, but they're going to connect in order to shed light and elevate us to a place where this is the time for the paradigm of relationship to be different. It's no longer, could not longer be in an unconscious manner. The union is to bring the liberation of each person within their own self, and through this liberation of the sovereign self and integrity, create the unified field. And that's not simple, and it's a mouthful, as you can see, but it's where we are, and we have the traction, and we have some amazing planets that come to assist the Mars and the Venus in staying in integrity. But it obviously takes participation.
A lot of participation. Yeah, it's humorous what's going on in the sky, you know, for divine sacred relationships. That's where we're going and that's where we're heading. And if you don't like it, watch out, because you will be tested and tested. And we all know we want a divine sacred relationship in our lives. And with everything Daphne said, these alignments, with Venus and Mars, you can feel it. It's palpable. It starts within you. It's the balancing of the masculine and feminine inside. We can't hold these illusions anymore because they're just not there. We can see how we're acting. We can see whether we're trying to control situations or if we're being fluid and, being our divine feminine and allowing and receiving those energies to come in. But again, we're in this perfect symphony of just recreating our instrument, which is our body, and fine tuning every note within us in our relationships. And if something is not, coherent or it's discordant, you're going to hear that loud, vibration or that chord that's, off key, going through your mind repeatedly. And so these times aren't here to, to suppress us. A lot of us, we feel the suppression and everything we're watching happening in the outside world. We're creating all these stories to it. But are those stories really true? Like, where are we bringing these stories forward from? It's like we got to really just start looking at things like the universe looks at us and how these planets look at us. They fine tune each and every area in our body, and they don't take illusions or distortions. And we need to see that too. We need to be more aware of our day to day and how we're taking in information in our relationships, how we're taking in information of what's happening in the outside world, how we're pointing fingers possibly at anything and everything, and reassess, because a lot of this just came from formed conclusions from, childhood or past lifetime. That's carryover that isn't serving. It's really just making your instrument out of tune consistently. And so we're in this grand orchestra right now. January, February, March is going to be fun too. But again, from my experience, and I'm going through it with all of you, I just know that I have to be more so aware of how I'm programming everything that I'm bringing into my context. It's like, how am I looking at this relationship? I may see it in one way where I'm creating the fantasy, but subconsciously it's all discordant in there because there's no cleanup of, maybe abandonment issues or being alone or whatever else comes up. It's like you may have this picturesque, relationship that you think you have, but the discordance is happening because you haven't looked at the inward of what's meeting there and how you really feel about the relationship. So again, anytime there's discordance or emotional triggers, or you're creating this chemical reaction in your body, it's just start becoming aware during these times, because you're fully supported with the synchronicities and the signs. They're nonstop at every nanosecond. But if things are coming up for you in that moment and they're vibrationally feeling off, trust that, because it is off. Something is off and something is not tuned right. And so this is kind of how we're navigating these days. It's very in the moment now. We don't have time to stay asleep. We do not have time to, be over addicted to things that are going to numb ourselves out. We really have to start taking our sovereignty and freedom back. And the best way to do it that I know how is really checking inward. And wherever your instrument of your body is banging in a way that's not soulful, step back, start getting aware. Where is this chemical reaction coming from? How am I creating this? What stories am I contributing to it that are false illusions? So, again, I'll let you keep going, Dafna, but that's just how, I'm processing through things this month, and how I keep a really strong foundation, and how it allows me to keep creating is because I can quiet those because I know where they're coming from, and I know that it's a complete illusion.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for adding all these layers. You talk about the narratives, and I find that when we wake up in the morning, it's so imperative. And I love that you talk about what you are doing and how you navigate these times, because part of, for me, has been a long time practice. And it's not that I never fall away from that practice, but it's pretty consistent. Before I open my eyes is to really, aside focusing on gratitude, really pay attention that you keep the slate blank and allow yourself to weave this day as it's never been woven before, because it's so easy to wake up with the same narratives and to start focusing on the details and forget that we are eternal and we are always in a mode. We walk in creation constantly, but it is always going to be in relationship to what we allow ourselves to open and where we narrow the boundary of our conceptual structures. Because if we wake up every day with the same story and narrative, and we don't watch ourselves in that wheel of emotion that is very unconscious, we can really close the doorways to what is waiting for us. Again, we're talking about the future vision. So it's so imperative, because time is accelerated, because we have shifted in vibrational quality, and the speeding up of creation is very much alive. Everything is you get the feedback very quickly. So paying attention to the body and doing whatever works for you on a daily basis, and it is imperative to have practices, whichever one work for you, whether it's nature or bath or listening to inspirational podcast while you travel and in traffic, whatever it may be. Find some form of practice that help you maintain your centeredness, because it's actually, it's as important as food. I would say more even. But, I want to add another thread when it comes to the divine lovers and their connection and how they are in conversation. The feminine and masculine also connect with our creativity. So there is a lot of creative passion, movement. And it's interesting because part of the word that came up for me today or yesterday was passion and patience. And I was like, how do these two work together? And I'm like, yeah, surrender is in the middle there. And so that's what came up for me, because yes, there is this feeling that we want some motion. But as I said, we are in this dance where the future vision is calling, but we're still purging. And we are laying foundations, but they are not in the visible plane yet. So much happens in creation, in the inner plane, in the dream space, in the internal earth. And the highways within the internal earth has been going through a lot of motion. And they are being merged with the creation on the physical plane. And it's gaining momentum. That's what I'm just trying to say. And our own vibrational alignment, our own constant alignment, and paying attention and becoming aware what we are weaving, and whether we are still attached to a narrative, and if it works for us. And if it's not, really let go. really surrender it to the divine, let the divine take it away. I want to also mention one last thing that I actually love about the way that the sky is working with us is that, yes, there is intensity and huge karmic cycle coming to an end, and there is always cosmic help that is with us. There is always assistance to the amplitude of the energetics that is shedding. There is an amplification of light that is being poured here. It's always working in tandem to help us shed these layers. And the beautiful aspect that is coming that I want to mention is Pisces. You know, we go through this intensity and shedding, and then we are towards on the 17th. So this Thursday, Jupiter is going to have a beautiful conversation and going to bring the Piscean energy. So the dream space, our intuition, our dreams, inspiration, aspiration, you know, all these feelings and currents that are going to start being added and poured into this configuration that we are working with. And we are going to have the Uranian in Taurus support, which helps us anchor those dreams. So I love how the sky brings waves of intensity, and it sort of like amplifies and amplifies and amplifies certain elements, and throws a square in there that takes us away from our egg, you know, from our confining egg, and breaks us open. And then it pours into us this beautiful, fluid, mystic, occult, intuitive, dreamy kind of energy to help us with the faith, you know, to bring up the faith, to amplify the inspiration, to amplify the dream space, to bring the dreams in the dream time, and to help us in the navigation of this dance that is constant. So it's not just, you know, intensity. We get breaks.
We do get nice little breaks, and I know we are in the intense part. I definitely do feel that, but the divine currency is pretty brilliant. You know, when we go through these wormholes of lots of cosmic lessons. And yeah, you know, just add a little bit to that. It's, again, I feel everything that you describe. It's, you know, for me, I was out in the field working in multiple states in January with a good friend and mentor, and we were doing grid work on the land. And, you know, it's one of those things where I'm working on my soul mission. And so I was doing that the first couple of weeks of January, and that work is, it's so guided, it's so intuitive, but it was so perfect for the energies, because they are really pushing us to show up in a way that we've never shown up before. And my body had been requesting to do grid work for a very long time. It was just, there was no, you know, saying no to that. So being in the field for several weeks, I can say when you're in creation, it feels like, you know, there's no time here. But as soon as I came back to my home base in San Francisco, in the city, it's, you know, you're in this different type of energy where I was in full speed ahead the first 3 weeks of January. And then I come here and it's like, whoa, okay, look at your narrative, look at your landscape, you know, because it's harder to be in that flow state of creation. And the energies are getting stronger and stronger. But what I do notice with these 2 months is it is giving us solid foundation to perform at our highest potential. There is no doubt. And I know, again, a lot of us are feeling that. And there's no wrong or right way to do it, but to attune that your foundation is getting completely dismantled, because again, we are rising to our highest potential. There is an agreement there, and the cosmic energies that are coming in, they're the strongest they've ever been on us in our temples, our body. They're taking in so much photonic light, gamma light, Christ consciousness. It's like all these frequencies are coming in, and so we're soulfully supported. But also, again, it's just January, February for me is a time of making sure that my foundation is solid, and that the people, places, and things that I'm bringing into my life are in full alignment with me. Because if I'm not in full alignment, it just doesn't work for where I want to go and what I want to push through. And I think for our audience, these podcasts are more of just support and sharing with you. If you can start fine tuning, the people, places, and things that make you feel expansive, that make you feel that highest potential in you, because we all know what that feels like. Our souls are yearning to, be these higher aspects. So if there's anyone out there, for you that, you can kind of help attune yourself, I suggest, spending time with that person that you really enjoy. Like Dafna said, spending time on podcasts that are high vibes, high vibration, quantum physics, stuff that you really get to nurture and know yourself in the most just beautiful ways, going inward. And again, yeah, there's just so much out there, and we so fully support you, and we're right there in these crazy energies with you. What's happening on the outside politically and so forth. But what we do know, like with Dafna and I, what we do know is how we want to create our frequencies and how we want to play out our timelines on this planet, because we are all multidimensional, and your experience is essentially one of whatever vibrationally you're bringing into your life, and you're going to emit that frequency and have a magnetic match to it. So again, guidance here, January and February, is just start to know yourself in all new ways. Be awareness of when you're creating stories around creation and things in your life that aren't serving you. And also, in the bigger picture, is how do you want to feel? What do you want to feel? What do you want to create? And when you create, what is that passion? What is that frequency? Can you feel it in your body? Can you know it to be something, that is a high aspect of yourself? And if that is, start feeling your way to those things that are going to get you closer to that timeline.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love everything you said. And, the blossoms, that's what comes to me, the picture that comes to me when you talk about it. The blossoms and the nectar that you have within you. What new blooms do you want to cultivate inside of you? And the point that sometimes I think get lost, and every once in a while I mention, is that we talk of unity, and unity is being bridged through our way of showing up to life. So if you are in some way skewed from the true essence of your unique and beautiful design, the magnificent being and the magnitude of your creative self, if some of it is not present in the way in which you walk on this plane and how you collaborate with creation, everything is designed to bring you into that alignment. And coming into this alignment and divine integrity creates a symmetry in creation that births the unified field. This is part of why you are here in this time. This is part of the reason you came here, to be with the ground crew, to shape shift this paradigm all of us want to see changed. We wanted to see it changed. That's why the chaos and the restructuring both within ourselves and the world. There is a purpose in all of it. And this is the legacy that we want to create, and what we want to live, and what we want to leave behind for next generations. And so we are all in this together. We are all going through the initiative fires, and that provide the fertile soil to the new foundations. And we are all supporting the blossoms in one another. I find that doing things like this with you, Shannon, and collaborating with like hearts raises the vortex of this, raises and uplift this foundation to its divine placement. And we really create a way for all of us to thrive and create the most beautiful harmonic that will echo in creation for forever.
Beautiful. And Dafna, you echo. I'm grateful to be a part of our collaboration always. And yeah, it's such a soulful time of empowerment, and we've all been ready to come into action. And yeah, the density is thick, but it's not as thick as what we truly are as our human species is a light body. And there is so much that we can do to shed layers together and to raise, the consciousness and have fun with it. I mean, there's so much going on, and when you do truly become aware, it starts becoming pretty humorous. But also we get to take our power back, because we know by divine design, all of our DNA is playing out. So it's time to clean it up together. And there's easier ways of going about it. I know it may be complex to some of you, but if you keep staying tuned to people like ourselves, there's a lot of guidance along the way. And Dafna, with that said, if people want to find you, what is the websites you'd like them to go to?
It's Healing Roots with S, hypnotherapy.com.
Okay, good. And then I'm shannonpardini.com. And any last words? Anything else you wanted to add? Or
just be kind, be patient. Whatever you find yourself being challenged by, surrender to the light, and know that the troops of light are always with you. Just call upon them. I think that those are good reminders to myself and to people here.
beautiful. Yeah, we love you, audience, and we honor you. And there's just so much to be said about these months and the months ahead, but you are supported, you are loved. I know how powerful we all are. So I honor you, I love you, and we are signing off. Thank you.
Thank you.